problem, and then he gets frustrated when he doesn't have the players around him that can do that to make shots like he do. Kevin Durant went to a team that already had shot makers. You know what I'm saying? So he was already on a team in Oklahoma City where I thought they were pretty good too. He just probably couldn't get along with the guy with Westbrook or whatever. I don't know what happened over there, and he chose to come to a team that had won a championship and did it. That's his prerogative. I don't care. You know, but what I'm saying is that
Gary Payton just crossed a line nobody saw coming. The Hall of Famer went nuclear on LeBron James and Kevin Durant, calling them out for something that's been simmering behind the scenes for years. And what he said is about to shake the entire basketball world. When a legend like the Glove speaks up about disrespect toward the greats who paved the way, you know things have gotten personal. This isn't just a hot take. This is a full-blown confrontation, and it's forcing everyone to pick a side.
We got to break. My whole thing is this. Forget the Jordan LeBron comparisons per se. I've never seen Jordan run from a defensive assignment. In my opinion, I don't want to use the word running because I'm not trying to disrespect LeBron. But I will say this. There have been many, many occasions where I would have liked to have seen him accepting the tougher defensive assignment, and that is not something that he has been prone to do. If anybody would know whether or not that statement is true, it would be you, GP. Your thoughts?
January 2025. That's when everything exploded. Gary Payton sat down for what was supposed to be a casual conversation about basketball, playoff predictions, standout teams, maybe a few stories from back in the day. But something shifted. The 9-time All-Star, the man who built a career making life miserable for the greatest players of his generation, decided he'd had enough of biting his tongue. And when Gary Payton stops holding back, you better pay attention. This wasn't just about basketball takes or generational debates. This was personal. For months, maybe even years, Payton and other legends from the 90s and 2000s have been watching something unfold that rubbed them the wrong way. Modern superstars, specifically LeBron James and Kevin Durant, have been dropping subtle jabs at the old guard, implying their era wasn't as competitive, as sophisticated, or as real as today's game. Most legends stayed quiet. They'd shake their heads, maybe drop a cryptic tweet, but they wouldn't confront it publicly, not where it could turn into a full-scale war. But Gary Payton, he's never been the type to let things slide. The same intensity that made him one of the NBA's most feared defenders. The same fire that earned him the nickname the Glove because he stuck to opponents like, well, a glove. That same energy was about to be unleashed on two of today's biggest names in basketball, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. The tension had been building for years. Every time LeBron claimed the game is harder now. Every time Kevin Durant suggested players from past eras couldn't keep up. Every time a modern star implied that the competition back then didn't match what they face today, the IT all added up. And in January 2025, Gary Payton decided it was time to set the record straight.
Chances with you, or just like, I want to continue to expand my game?
That was the main thing, wanting to expand my game. Early on when I came into the league, if I could think about my first 20 games in the league, I felt like I was just catching and shooting. A lot of it was catch and shoot threes, catch and shoot mid-range. I was playing fast.
So you felt it was happening so quick, you just felt comfortable rising up.
That was my game, just shooting. You know what I'm saying, at that point. So that's what I, fell back.
So what exactly did LeBron and Durant say that set all this off? Let's be clear, neither of them directly disrespected the legends. They weren't calling out Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, or Gary Payton by name. But disrespect doesn't always come from words. Sometimes it's about implications. The tone, the comparisons you make. Over the past few years, LeBron has repeatedly said the modern NBA is more skilled, more athletic, and more demanding than any previous era. He's talked about guarding all 5 positions, the three-point revolution, and how the game is faster and more complex than ever. In interviews throughout 2024 and early 2025, he subtly positioned himself and his peers as facing challenges that players from the 90s simply didn't. Then there's Kevin Durant. KD has been more direct. On podcasts, he said things like, if you took some of those teams from back then and put them in today's game, they'd struggle. He suggested the average player today is far more skilled than the average player 20 or 30 years ago. He's downplayed the physicality of the 90s, skill levels have increased. But here's where it gets messy. When you argue this, you're also implying that the previous generation's accomplishments weren't as impressive, that their championships, battles, and legacies deserve an asterisk. And social media blew up. Younger fans said, they're right, the old heads wouldn't survive today's pace. Older fans fired back. The debate was everywhere, and it was only getting hotter. Put LeBron in the 90s and let him try driving to the basket against real defense. But it wasn't just fans reacting. Other former players started speaking up. Some stayed diplomatic. Others dropped hints that they weren't happy with how the modern stars were talking. The divide was growing. And with every new comment from LeBron or KD about how much tougher the game is now, that gap got even wider. Then Gary Payton heard one comment too many, and he snapped. What he said next? That's when things got real. Stay with me.
Stay with me.
Phil made an adjustment where he switched Scotty, a bigger guy, on me to stop me from posting up and going at him. And then Michael got very upset about that because he wanted to take the challenge, which I knew he would want to. And that's what made the difference. You know, he didn't shoot the ball very well after game 3. He didn't shoot the ball very well. And then all of a sudden, you know, they made adjustments and they started going to Kukoc and Rodman was getting all kind of
When Gary Payton finally spoke up, he didn't ease into it. There was no polite preamble, no softening the message. With all the force of the glove, he came out swinging, making sure everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. LeBron and KD need to put some respect on the names of the people who built this league, Payton said in the interview that's now blowing up across every basketball platform. They act like we were out there playing checkers while they're playing chess. Man, please. We played against killers every single night. And he didn't stop there. Payton went on to explain exactly what made the 90s and early 2000s so brutal. Hand checking, defenses that could be physical without getting whistled for fouls every 10 seconds. Playing against Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant in his prime, Tim Duncan in the Spurs dynasty. The mental warfare, the trash talk, the pride of defending your territory night after night. These guys today, Payton continued, they're talented. I'm not saying they're not. But don't disrespect the grind that came before them. But don't sit there and tell me that what we did doesn't measure up. Don't tell me the competition we faced was soft. You think it was easy going up against Jordan, Reggie Miller, and all those Hall of Famers night after night in the playoffs? Payton's most pointed comments, though, were aimed at the skill argument that LeBron and KD have suggested that players today are more skilled because the game has evolved. Payton flipped that narrative completely. Skill? You want to talk about skill? He said, his voice rising. We had to be skilled and tough. We didn't have spacing like they do now. We had to create our own shots against defenders who could actually put their hands on you. Every bucket was earned. You didn't have open threes because nobody was guarding you. You had someone on your chest, talking trash, trying to break you mentally and physically. He called out the modern game's advantages, the defensive 3-second rule, the elimination of hand checking, and how fouls are called now compared to back then. According to Payton, all of these changes make it easier for offensive players to put up big numbers. And yet, somehow, modern stars act like they're facing tougher competition than the legends did. LeBron's a great player. KD's a great player. I'm not taking that away from them. But when you start discrediting what we did, when you act like the game was easier back then, that's when I have a problem. That's disrespect. And I'm not going to sit here and let that slide. The basketball world froze. Gary Payton didn't just defend his era. He challenged the entire narrative modern players have been building. He threw down the gauntlet. Put some respect on our names, or we're going to have a problem. Just like that, it went from a generational debate to a full-blown confrontation. The reaction was instant and divided. Former players from Payton's era rallied behind him almost immediately. Reggie Miller retweeted a clip of Payton's comments with a simple PS. Shante Billups posted a story saying, "Finally, somebody said it." Even players who usually stay out of drama, the guys who prefer to keep things positive and focus on the current game, were liking posts and dropping subtle hints that they agreed with the glove. If you want to stay updated on all the drama, all the debates, and all the moments that define basketball culture, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on Notifications, because trust me, this story is far from over. Gary Payton just fired the opening shot, and when legends start speaking up, you know things are about to get even more interesting. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.